let's get Unstoppable Africa TV. I'm Melissa Matani. We have just seen all these awards handed out on the main stage. And talking of awards, joining me now is Camille Olufobi, the chairman of MIPAD. That stands for Most Influential People of African Descent. Camille, tell us about this. You established this global platform to identify, recognize, and connect outstanding individuals of African descent worldwide. Where did this idea come from, and how did it develop?
Thank you very much, Melissa, for having us on. My name is Camille Olufobi, and I run an initiative called the Most Influential People of African Descent in support of the United Nations International Decade for People of African Descent. So a UN resolution in 2024 established the resolution, and the goal, the first pillar of that resolution, the UN resolution, is recognition. The recognition of the positive contributions of people of African descent from all over the world.
But why is recognition so important, especially for the diaspora?
Correct. So there are three pillars for the decade: recognition, justice, and development. And recognition is critical for the contributions we've made. That, you know, the narrative has never really applauded our contributions in different countries around the world. And when the journey started, as a Nigerian American, I have learned so much about the global Africa diaspora. I grew up here in the U.S., and I discovered that the largest population of people of African descent outside of Africa is in Brazil. And when you go to the east, India and Pakistan, and you come back to South America and Colombia, over 11 million. So we are all over the world making positive contributions to all these nations around the world. But that acknowledgement.
Yeah, now you want them to be recognized.
Correct.
So how do you qualify who is recognized? What's the criteria? What do you look at?
For the most influential 100, what we look at is your contribution to the collective, for the work that you're doing to elevate and to amplify our stories around the world. So it's critical for us to identify Black stories, be it in Costa Rica or be it in Pakistan. From Argentina to Zimbabwe, because we're in different localities, but the issues are the same.
So it's amplifying stories. That's one of the things you look for. What are the other criteria that get you to be...
Political leadership. So one of the core things that we look at is political leadership. So we have the four corners of what we do is politics and governance, which is where I fall in as a diplomat, and then business and entrepreneurship, and then we look at media and culture, and then humanitarian endeavors. So these four corners are the core criteria. So we started off as 100 most influential under 40.
Okay.
So it's a young platform. Well, when I was under 40, I handed over last year.
You look like you're under 40, that's fine.
So my tenure...
There's wisdom that comes with age too,
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been a joy. I've learned so much. I now know the global Africa family more than I ever did.
And so when people are involved in this organization, are there resources for them? Is it community? Is it,
Correct.
I think you label yourself as a connectologist.
Right,
that was it, yeah.
So the essence of what I do is the connectivity. It is okay for us to be dispersed around the world, but what is not okay is the disconnection. So people of African descent are scattered all over the world. We have honorees from over 120 countries around the world, all UN member states.
Honorees from 120 countries.
Countries around the world.
So I just want to say to all of our viewers who are watching this at the moment, we want to hear from you. Do you know about this organization? Are you interested in it? How are you feeling? Comment in, on YouTube, and we'll have a look. But so tell me, what about this year? Who are the awards going to? How did you decide, and who are they going to?
Fantastic. So, class of 2025 is quite unique. We live in the geopolitics of what's going on in the world today. The UNGA, which started today pretty much, we were looking forward to it because we've had many GAs, but this one is more meaningful because the world is going through a major shift, systemic change. And more than ever before, Africans and people of Africans from all over the world want to connect with each other. So our class of 2025 recognize those who are at the forefront of that connectivity, bringing our collective together. And the Hall of Fame category this year, super excited about some of the honorees on there, especially the guests we're going to unveil shortly. They've done remarkable work in financial literacy.
Which is very important.
Fantastic. It's such an incredible idea to bring financial literacy and the creative economy together. So they've been extremely successful in driving that connection between America and Africa. And with this award, we look forward to them driving this connectivity across the global Africa family, to Brazil, to the UK, to Colombia.
And I will say Colombia, we have somebody, Angela Maria Gomez is watching from Colombia. Hello.
¿Cómo estás?
All right, so tell us, who is getting this award?
Yeah, so drum roll. So today we're announcing that Earn Your Leisure founders, Troy and Richard, they are getting not only the Hall of Fame award this year, the most influential, but the personalities of the year. The personalities of the year. They've done incredible work bringing the attention of America to Africa. And if you don't mind me saying, Unstoppable Africa, they are the unstoppable diaspora.
Wow, well, that is great news. And in fact, just on my right, we happen to have Troy and Richard. So let me go over here. Thank you, Camille. Congratulations. Let me hand these awards to them. You have now got these official MyPad Awards live on Unstoppable Africa television.
Amazing.
Thank you.
We made it to the Hall of Fame while we're still living.
And this says Certificate of Recognition for the most influential people of African descent, Hall of Fame. So that is good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
very
much.
much,
Appreciate
Camille.
it.
That is
Thank you so
fantastic.
much.
I want to turn my attention over here now. Like, how does it feel to get these awards?
It's extremely humbling. You know, we don't do anything for awards, but it's great to be recognized. And it's great to know that the work doesn't go unseen. So, you know, our mission as far as empowering people with tools and resources is not just a domestic mission, it's a global mission. So that's why we spend a lot of time on the continent as well as other places. And I feel like, you know, it's our gift that we've been, you know, blessed with, be able to bridge the gap from America to the continent, and that's something that we've been able to do, and we have a lot more work to do, but organizations like this, we're happy.
You know, so obviously I know who you are, but there are a lot of people who are watching who might be unfamiliar with your work. So if you are, let me just give you a kind of a recap. This is Troy Millings, Rashad Bailal. They are the force behind the Earn Your Leisure podcast that we heard about. Now, it's essentially become a massive financial literacy hit. And they started the podcast, I think you started shooting it on your iPhones in 2019. It's grown into a national phenomenon with sold out national tours, celebrity guest lists that have included a long list of stars, including Alicia Keys, Steve Harvey, Nick Cannon, and Magic Johnson. Take a look.
Of that, because in order to see something, right, in order to be something, we have to see it first. So talk about the representation, because there was a generation where we watched it, we don't know how they did it. You're doing it a lot different. We've watched you play, we've watched you make these business moves, we've watched you put stores in locations that people wouldn't, we've watched you become successful. You've left clues for us. Talk about the representation part.
Well,
I'm getting up with you.
Well, we got to remember something. It's not just about the money. It's about having a seat at the table. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't hear nobody. What? What is our biggest challenge is that we don't have a seat at the table. So when you become successful, you're able to now have a seat at that table. And then you can help the city change. They include you on decisions that happen in the city or in different areas of the city that you live in. So it's like the power. And so that's what it's all about. Yes, we can, it's a lot of people can make money, but we need to be represented. That's what you two brothers are doing right now, giving all of us a chance. You're representing the culture. These young people, they see you and they see what you built. This is amazing. And this is just what we needed, right? And so now, hold on 1 second. You driving 20,000 people, the mayor got to come see you. What? Wait a minute. 2 black men driving 20,000 here in the city? Oh, I got to have a meeting with them two. And then it just continues on. So, yes, we want to be successful, but also we want to have a seat at the table to be able to hopefully be change agents on what's happening in our community, but also what's happening in the city too as well. So that's what it's all about.
Right, so it's about a seat at the table. And for many people, personal finance is really intimidating, right? It's difficult to understand. It's not something that we're taught in school. And your show has been described as like a college business class mixed in with pop culture. So talk to me a little bit about how your approach has changed the cultural conversation about money, because normally it's a taboo subject, right?
Yeah. I mean, financial literacy for so long has been something that is almost like a foreign language. And so our thing was we wanted to democratize it. We wanted to demystify the myth around it. We wanted to have people alleviate some of the fear that they had around it. And so our approach was relatability. Like, we had this idea of like, let's put the medicine inside the candy. People understand entertainment, they know sports, but do they know the business around it? And from there, we got to interview entrepreneurs and hear their backstories and realize there's a pathway here to teach people. And so that's been the mission the entire time, is how do we decode this foreign language to people that look like us? For so long, it wasn't being taught in schools. It wasn't being talked about at the dinner table. It wasn't commonality in our communities. And we realized there's more people that look like us that need this message. And so we took it upon ourselves to say, relatability is going to be the way we get in the door. The information is the way we stay in it.
It's so smart. I love what you said. It's like the medicine in the candy, which is, I guess, exactly what it is. But so you started 6 years ago, and now you have millions of followers. I mean, that must be pretty amazing, because I don't know if that's what you planned when you started out. When you did your first podcast, did you ever think it would be this big?
Yeah, I mean, that's, you never really know exactly what the future holds, but we knew that we had something that was very large as far as the addressable market. We knew that we had something that was needed. So,
and just in terms of background, like one of you was in finance, one of you was in education, so you put your heads together and you were like, hey, we can do this.
I feel like that's just how God works sometimes, right? He was a financial advisor. Actually, he was my financial advisor. I was in education.
Right.
It just so happens that as best friends our whole lives, we link together to teach financial education. Sometimes you're just a vessel and you got to walk in the path.
And now you actually have an Earn Your Leisure University. It's kind of a literacy program. Tell me about that. That's aimed to reach an even bigger group of people.
Yeah, online university. It's called EYL University, and it's a hands-on. We have curriculum in regards to stocks, real estate, credit. We have weekly classes. We have infinity groups. We have regional groups. So, we wanted to take it off of YouTube and social media and just give people a more hands-on learning experience.
And this is personal for you, because you actually saw your parents lose their family home, and so advising people and getting them to really understand it's personal. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I think every family has trauma that they don't unpack until they get older. And so watching my family lose a home was something I didn't understand. It's just that we were moving. When you get deeper into the education of it, you realize that one piece of information about how adjustable rates and fixed rate mortgages work could have changed our trajectory forever. But the fact that we had a conversation about it, we were able to unpack it and make sure that the next generation doesn't make that mistake, it helps. But what we also can do is educate more people, have the masses understand that one decision could change everything. And so, we've been very fortunate to do that.
Do you think that there are cultural barriers to understanding this kind of information between maybe some people who are immigrants who are in certain communities? They don't have that same sort of access to financial knowledge. I know that's what you're trying to change. But is that what you find through a lot of the people that come to you?
It is definitely cultural barriers. If you were not taught finances, then it's hard to learn it, especially if you develop bad habits in a household. So part of our mission is just breaking down stigma and retraining the way that people was taught about money.
So tell me, the question that everybody at home wants to know, and who I'm seeing here on YouTube, is, so how do we all get rich?
I think there's a multitude of steps. I believe it starts with education. First, educating yourself in the areas of how you can actually make money. We always talk about incomes, having multiple streams, multiple sources of income. Having one is too close to none. It's about investing, it's about budgeting, it's about saving. There's all these steps that you have to do, and then study the people who have been successful, right? We always believe that success leaves clues. So we put a manuscript together. We have a New York Times best-selling book, You Deserve to Be Rich. We get that question a lot. We put a body of work together so people can use that as a resource.
And so what is one piece of advice that you would give to people out there, just people who want to learn about money? Is it just obviously to follow your podcast and tune into you guys, but if they have questions, what is one piece of advice that's helped you the most in your own life?
Live below your means and invest the difference. That's important.
Smart. Well, congratulations with this big honor. It's fantastic. We're super proud of you. Thank you for what you do, and we hope that you'll come back and tell us what difference this award has made in your lives next year.
We appreciate you for having us, and thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we have people watching from all over the world. Today, there are watch parties in Cameroon and in South Africa, as well as people tuning in on YouTube. We've already seen somebody in Colombia, as well as all of the 54 countries on the continent, and UN TV. So wherever you are, we want to know where you're watching from. Comment on YouTube page, let us know. For our friends who are watching in South Africa, tell us what stood out to you.
Yes, so what has been exciting for us today? What have we enjoyed listening in from South Africa? I think it's great to see the repositioning of Africa as a continent in terms of the opportunities that we sit with, in terms of what we can leverage for growth, for global trade, to attract more investments and partnerships. I think Africa sitting with a youthful population, that is our human capital, that is enormous. Africa moving towards enhanced trade within itself is critical for us. And that is also the strength that as a continent, we want to be able to enhance global trade. So a lot of nuggets coming through from Unstoppable Africa, and we are quite excited at the repositioning of the continent.
Well, back here in New York, this morning's panel focused a lot on AI. We also heard about partnerships between the US and Africa, specifically with Silicon Valley. Joining me now to talk more about all of this is Kojo Boyake, Meta's VP of Public Policy for Africa, the Middle East, and Turkey. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. You just made an announcement about the grant for startups. You were just on a panel talking about Silicon Valley. Tell us more about Meta and what you're doing with AI.
So much. I think the first point I made, I got a question about what the motivations of Silicon Valley companies are.
Right.
And my response was clear. I don't think you can bucket all Silicon Valley companies together. I think Meta's mission is clear, to build a technology that enables human connection in the future. And I think our investments speak to that. Now, you heard about some of the grant award winners from today, but we've been doing these Llama Impact Grants, these grants that are built on our open source AI, Llama 1, 2, 3, 4, that are being used by companies and individuals like the ones you saw today, from Vambo AI, from Propel Mapper, from TeenUp, Easy Read.
Sorry, just take a step back, because for some of our viewers who might not have been watching the panel, just explain what these actually
So
are.
over time, amongst Meta's many investments, and you would have heard of the infrastructure investments like To Africa, the world's longest submarine cable, the first cable to connect East to West Africa or West to East Africa. We've been going deep on the continent and thinking about how we stimulate and work with small startups and individuals who are seeking to use AI. And the open sourcing of our Llama models, which have been downloaded more than 1.3 billion times, has enabled companies like the ones you saw today, individuals like the ones you saw today, to use AI to solve real issues. So whether that be healthcare, whether that be education, whether that be ensuring that the 2,000 or so African languages are captured and reflected in the models that AI have moving forward, our Llama grants and the access to our Llama model, open source model, has enabled that. And those are the grant winners you saw today, who are fantastic young Africans.
And the language thing that you brought up is really important, because we are, there still exists a huge digital divide within Africa and the West, right? A lot of people just don't have access to the same kind of technology, training, and skills. And there is a danger of Africa being left behind with AI, because these systems that we're all using, are being created by the West, and they're not inclusive of Africa.
So I think that argument has some weight, and that's why I think companies like Meta, who are investing in ensuring that languages are captured, so our No Language Left Behind effort ensures that 55 African languages, including Yoruba, Swahili, and lesser spoken African languages, have been captured in models and are being captured. Our data sets, casual conversation data sets that we've shared with researchers, again, are ensuring that African languages are being captured. Our massive multilingual models that we again have developed are ensuring that African languages are being captured. So I think language is a huge part, ensuring that data sets, ensuring that models first of all reflect culture and language is important, and ensuring that we have data sets to share with many of the African AI experts that have been here in the room is really important. And that's why I was trying to make the point that not every Silicon Valley company is the same. And when you have a mission like Meta's, which is to build technology that enables human connection, you will try and ensure that Africa is included in this AI development, in this global change that we're seeing.
Well, what's the reaction that you get from these big partners in Silicon Valley? Are they interested in Africa as really like an equal partner, or are they interested just in a consumer base that they can kind of like sell products to?
No, I think big partners in Silicon Valley will always be interested in Africa. We've heard for some of the reasons why, even if they were concentrating on the ROI, Africa makes sense. It's the only region where GDP is set to double if we get AI right. Everybody knows about the youth explosion, which should be seen as an opportunity in my view. By 2050, 25% of the global working population will be African. These are things that every African or every Silicon Valley company is interested in. But actually where Meta, and certainly my team looking after Africa, Middle East and Turkey have concentrated is on how we work with the amazing entrepreneurs. On the panel, for those viewers who didn't read or didn't watch, you would have seen on the panel investors, VC investor Daniel, who's been investing for 13 years. And what were the reasons why? Amazing intellect, problem solvers, resilience, and amazing potential for return on investment. Those reasons why he invests, why small African entrepreneurs, medium African entrepreneurs, and large entrepreneurs like Strive that we spoke from EcoNet, yes, those are the reasons why they invest, and the same reasons why Meta invests as well.
Well, I have to say, I mean, I think the language and the partnerships and the entrepreneurs, that is all really, really interesting and really positive. But there is another side to AI, right? And AI has been blamed. We've seen AI being the cause of a lot of misinformation that's spread. And there has been criticism, specifically from Nigeria against Meta, saying that Meta isn't doing enough to stamp out misinformation on its platforms in Africa compared to how it sort of reacts to things in the West. Do you think that's fair?
No, I think that's unfair, and I'm not sure where the accusations come from, first and foremost. I don't think it's from Nigeria. I think across the continent and across the world, countries want us to do better on misinformation. And look, AI holds many opportunities. It also presents many risks. What I will say is the same challenges we're seeing with misinformation, the challenges that AI may present, AI may also offer us and is offering us a solution to that as well. So much of the misinformation that is on platform is taken down before it even gets on platform, to be honest with you. And much of that is down to AI, the AI that we use in our systems. So I think there is a concern around AI. It's a correct concern, if I may describe it that way. But also, I think that people need to understand that AI presents an amazing opportunity when it comes to misinformation as well. And it's one that Meta is seizing, in my view.
And certainly one that we're all going to be keeping an eye on. But I want to change track a little bit and talk to you about fashion, because we started off today with a big fashion panel, looking at some of the outfits from the big gala last night. And we did mention that Meta is making a big push into AI in terms of fashion, and you had a recent collaboration with London Fashion Week.
London Fashion Week.
Yeah.
I think one of the other collaborations that we had with Connect last week, which is probably more pertinent. I didn't attend London Fashion Week.
Okay.
So fashion's always been important to us. Luxury is important to us. We've seen the growth of the business, and it's perfectly understandable why luxury brands and those who are creating cheaper, more affordable fashion use our platforms to advertise. Some of our best and biggest advertisers use our platforms, but also some of the smaller innovative companies, again, from my region. Many of the producers in places like Ghana, in Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, even in North African places like Egypt, are using our platforms to reach new markets, and that's incredibly important, whether that be in fashion or anything else.
Wonderful. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much. I'm excited to see where those entrepreneurs end up, and they'll hopefully come and join us next year.
Thank you ever so much.
Thanks so much. Well, next, I'm going to speak to two Cameroonians who are pushing African culture far outside its borders through fashion and also through music. But first, let's take a closer look at the backstory of fashion designer Kibonin Enfi.
Growing up in Cameroon as a little girl, I never dreamed of becoming a designer. I just fell into it because I loved fashion. When I moved to New York, I was immediately inspired to make my own mark. I enrolled at the Art Institute, where I was able to learn the fundamentals and develop my talent to compete on the global stage. Not only was I nominated Young Emerging Designer of the Year, I also showcased at Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week New York and South Africa. I realized the journey is not about the goal, but it's about the process. And the biggest thing about the process is being able to share my life experience through my designs in a way that inspires people from all walks of life. Without a doubt, I'm inspired by my own Cameroonian roots. The confluence of old and new, the textiles, the prints, the symbols combined with the architectural forms. I like to think that my vision cuts across all cultures and all ways of thinking. My dream is to one day open a factory in Cameroon where we will manufacture clothes of the highest quality, all the while empowering people to live better lives. I believe in the creative power of my generation. We want more for ourselves and for Cameroon. That's why I'm a member of the Cameroonian American Chamber of Commerce.
So as I said, joining me now are Kibona Nenfi, the founder and CEO of Kibona New York, and Fatima Emba, the head of A&R at Sank Music Group and Trace TV Media Advisor. So Kibona, the video we just saw was from 6 years ago. You know, that's what our viewers were seeing about how you first started in fashion. How has your business developed since then?
Fashion is, of course, you know, it's really a tough industry. But I think when you know what you're doing and you know where you want to go, you have that vision, you stay resilient, you stay focused on the vision. It's been a growth process. Considering I did not grow up doing fashion, I studied fashion as an adult. And navigating the path in New York City has been a challenge because you have challenges from financial to knowledge to networks and all of that. But so far, I think I'm in a good place.
Are you wearing one of your designs?
Yes, I'm wearing one of my designs.
Show us. How did you design it? Let our viewers see.
So right now, I'm in a process where I'm working with a fashion tech company.
Okay.
I do all of my designs on their platform, and I order them for manufacturing in Dominican Republic. I equally have factories in Cameroon where we do more of the bespoke products. But in Dominican Republic, we do the ready-to-wear products. And I love it because it's easier for me to design on these platforms. It's called Create One. They have all the bodies we need. We now tell our stories through the textiles. So what I'm wearing is what the Bamileke people of Cameroon wear. So I just redesign it. That's what actually the royalty wear. And the people wear it on special occasions.
Your Highness.
Exactly.
I feel very privileged.
Highness.
So I redesign it now on prints, and then it's printed on different types of fabrics.
You know, fashion is soft power, because that's how most people are seeing it. And you know, Fatima, as well as music, you are a brand partner for Dior. So you're also into fashion. I must say, you're looking very, very fashionable tonight. You know? And you've started your own philanthropy section, right, called Jump Africa, and it's aiming at giving other rising stars a chance to break into the arts. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, bottom line, Jump Africa serves in the education sector, right? Where it's creating platforms for upcoming artists and what I like to call the middle, those data analysts, those A&Rs, those managers, producers. So Jump serves to send educational materials to the continent to help foster those areas, the middle, what I call the middle. And to date, we've been able to send over $1 million worth in educational material to the continent, and of course in partnership with Trace TV and Sync.
And you know, I think I remember that you were 12 when you had already committed to a path of music. Is that correct?
You did your research.
I did my research.
Yes.
12 is young. When did you know that this was what you wanted to do?
You know, I think there was no plan B for me. It was always music. Growing up...
What was it about music? How did you know?
being from Cameroon, Cameroon is known for makossa. When my dad used to pull me to the living room to dance for everyone, that's when I knew. And when I went to school, all I could do sitting in the classroom was just thinking about music. And so from 12th to beyond, I decided that if I was not going to be an artist, a choreographer, a dancer, I was going to be an executive, and it panned out pretty well, especially being African, where you come from a household where you are supposed to be a nurse or a doctor or a lawyer. You know, I'm blessed to be able to, you know, be in a career where I'm able to work with great brands such as Trace TV and Olivier over there and the whole team, and Stink Music and Barry and the whole team.
Can you show us some of your dance moves? The dance moves you did as a kid.
ABC, wonderful.
That was fantastic. You know, it's so interesting because you were talking about like being in New York and the struggle and how hard it is, and obviously you're actually both your role models, right? To so many other kids on the continent and not even on the continent here. How important is it for young kids to see people like you, to know that this is something that they can achieve?
You know, I would say in Cameroon, for instance, right, until Samuel Eto'o became the most paid soccer player, every kid who went to play soccer was beaten on. Like, where are you going to play soccer? No. Your parents would give you, I'm sure they whooped you. Went to play soccer, they would beat you up. You could not play soccer. But when Samuel Eto'o became what he was, the parents now were paying for their students, for their
Always
children
a thing.
to go.
When other people say it's cool, then they're like, yeah.
So that is how big it is for kids to have role models, people they can look up to, people they can see succeeding. And for me in particular, that is my commitment. I am literally the first generation of fashion designers, and I don't want to leave a legacy where in a couple of years, or even now, the kids want to get into fashion, for instance, and they do not have a blueprint, and they do not have access, and they do not know what to do. That would be my biggest failure. So I'm doing everything to make sure that that legacy is the fact that my younger ones can have access because they see our products at Macy's, at Bloomingdale's, and they see that we are doing the right thing. You know?
And you know, learning doesn't stop at any age. I think you recently did an internship with Diane von Furstenberg, right? Like, it happens at any age. You know, something else I want to ask you about, I'm not sure if you guys were here yesterday, but the economist Jeffrey Sachs was speaking on stage, and he made some comments. They were kind of fiery, but they were true. He said, you know, that yes, everybody says that Africa has the youngest population and that is a big resource, but if they're not educated, then they're not a resource. So how important is it for people to get educated? And by educated, I don't just mean like maths and reading, but it's like learning how to make fabrics, learning the real business skills that it takes to get into the music industry.
I think it's extremely important. I'm going to speak from like a Trace perspective, right? So we have 30 channels worldwide, and one of our main channels is the Trace educational platform, where it serves to expose exactly what you're talking about. Mentorship, craftsmanship in different areas. And mentorship, just to speak on that, is extremely important. I want to always say that mentorship doesn't always come from physical individual. Mentorship comes from books. A lot of my mentors are in books that I read, right?
Wow.
So I'm blessed enough to be able to have the opportunity to have access to books, which that's what Jump is for as well, to send books to the continent. Because if you have someone who's looking, I always say there's looking to be a pilot or an engineer, the first place, if they're somewhere in a village or something, is to open a book and start there.
Wow.
That's where mentorship
That's
starts
so
from.
interesting. Okay, so quickly, because we've got to wrap this up. Who's your biggest mentor? Ooh. Don't say each other.
They're gonna love me for this. My parents. They'll love me for this, though.
Well, I would
But they are, though, my parents.
They are? Wonderful. And you?
So for me, actually, my mentor, I needed to have more of a spiritual mentor than a business mentor. So my mentor is Pastor Agatha.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Pleasure to
Melissa.
speak to you. So a lot of what we're hearing today is designed to encourage the next generation of Africans, as we've just been talking about, and change both their view of the world and the opportunities available to them. Much of that starts with dialogue. Take a look.
automobile is a fad, a novelty. Horses are here to stay.
I think there's a world market for maybe 5 computers.
Women cannot do men's work.
Sustainability is important, but we have more urgent issues.
History has taught us that the leaders who succeed are the ones who meet the needs of the future by moving forward.
To achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, we need forward thinkers. Those who see the SDGs as a driver of growth, not reputation. Who are busy making progress, not just pledges. Who know sustainability is the future, not a trend.
Because right now, only 15% of the SDGs are on track for 2030. Some are even moving backwards. And the majority of businesses aren't setting bold enough targets.
Forward Faster is here to guide companies on the areas where they can make the biggest, fastest impact for 2030.
Because sustainable companies give us the best chance of achieving the SDGs. But we need you to take more ambitious action.
The people and planet of tomorrow are relying on the forward thinkers and doers of today. Don't fall behind the times. Move forward faster.
You think they're gonna do it?
Well, talking of the next generation, a big announcement that was made here today involved the GABI pathways. Now, joining me to talk more about this is Cynthia Mufa, the Senior Advisor for Africa Regional Programming at the UN Global Compact. And you are joined by a guest after the announcement you just made. Tell us more.
Thank you, Melissa. But first of all, let me introduce our special guest. We are so thrilled to have with us Her Excellency Nados Bekele Thomas of ALDA NEPAD, a very, very important structure and institution of the African Union, really responsible for delivery of our 2063 agenda. And today, Her Excellency, along with up to, I think there were 23 people in the room within the healthcare health system space, joined us in a strategic roundtable around healthcare on the continent. Part of what we're calling our action pathways on health here at the Global Africa Business Initiative, which is essentially our way of having impact, of moving, of delivering. And really we've created this coalition of the willing to come together to help the continent move forward on health. The people around the table was an ecosystem, from our policymakers as Her Excellency, to private sector, to those working to doctors in the room, being able to give us a real understanding of where we are, what are the challenges, what are the gaps, and what are the opportunities. And really, it's about us working together. So we were thrilled to launch today, but the work only starts now and coming together. So that's why we're here, to really talk about it.
Well, that is fantastic. I mean, and this is so needed. So can you give us a few specifics that were in the communique that you guys announced, specifically from a policy level?
Thank you very much. In actual terms, what Cynthia said is right, and that's the most needed aspect of it, because health is seen as a sectoral work to be done. It's a public sector engagement in that. It's as if it's the responsibility of the government. Now we've realized that's more than that health is life. Health is a foundation for our industries. Health is a foundation for everything that we do. And our approach to health is in an integrated way where, we look at it from, of course, human lives, saving lives, but also from industrialization. That's an opportunity to industrialize in pharmaceuticals is one of the locomotives and the ways in terms of promoting our comprehensive agricultural development thing, because it's about, obviously about what we eat. It's everything. It's literally everything.
Yeah.
It's about infrastructure, it's about
Absolutely.
energy, so everything is in health.
They have a saying that health is wealth, and it's really true because
That was the title of our discussion.
Oh, really? Because
Health as well.
Health is wealth, and I think it's so often we take it for granted, but it could be anything. Like sometimes people think about sickness like some, it must be some big disease that you get. But even, when one of you have a scratch, you hurt your finger, you notice how out of sorts you are, and you really need to take care of yourself.
Exactly.
Let me just ask, because I'm also keeping an eye on some of the comments that we're getting in from our viewers. So just to explain these GABI action pathways, they're strategic, partner-driven collaborations that essentially bring people together, which is crucial, but then you're actually holding these people account, right? To deliver on them. And anybody who's ever met Cynthia, she is the best person to do that, right? She's making sure that they put their money where their mouth and their expertise is.
No, it's very true, because what we have agreed in that is that we have got many strategies, many plans, all fragmented, but there is at least, we need to really come out with a plan that is one where we would really look at, enrich it, but also monitor the progress and report and be accountable for. And therefore, we hope that, as an African Union Development Agency, we will be taking that responsibility of making sure the pathways for action are really not only just words and slogans, but they are responsibilities and that we have to be accountable for. And when I say we, I mean it's the community at large, meaning development partners, ourselves as policymakers, but also the private sector and investors.
And that's why it's so important that we have strong women who are leading this charge, because they will hold people accountable.
We do.
But just give us a sense of, in talking about this, for people who aren't familiar, how have you built on the pathways that you announced last year? Where are you on them?
So, the Global Africa Business Initiative really is responding to Africa's needs. So we focus on a number of strategic and thematic areas, very much aligning with the work that Her Excellency's office and organization does. We're looking at trade. How do we support the AFCFTA, trade within the continent, but also trading with others? We look at digital transformation. This is another action pathway that will be launched during this Unstoppable Africa. We look at health. We look at education. We look at, I'm thinking, what am I forgetting?
Well, you have a very
the
special
creatives, music and art. So for us, it's really about focusing on the drivers of economic development and investment. So we were talking at the action pathway about how health is not just a public good, but it's also a viable investment opportunity.
Absolutely.
We always, traditionally, we look to our governments to support health, and quite rightly so. It is a public necessity, but it cannot survive without investment. And what is the model we should be using? And in that room were those who were really, talking to us about that. NEPAD obviously is investing in that, but also working with the private sector to drive things. So that was the whole idea, is that we are in that room, there were already partnerships happening, work is already being done, but as a platform, we're about bringing you together, connecting the dots,
and making sure that
you are held accountable.
Excellent.
And tracking that.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to speaking to both of you this time next year to hear about the success of it. Thank you very much. Now, for all of our viewers who are watching around the world, we want to hear from you. We've been asking people in this room a very fun question. What emoji sums up Africa? Let us know what you think, but take a look at what they told us.
I'm wearing a classic West African outfit.
This is called an agbada from Nigeria.
Today I wanted to give trophy, I wanted to give dripping gold, I wanted to give star, because that is who I am and that is what I'm giving you. Right now, you have to look at it.
Green and gold from South Africa, that's our national team colors.
If Africa had one emoji to summarize it, what emoji would you choose?
Oh, fist pump for sure. Laughter. We are the continent of fun. We love to have fun.
It's one with a big smile, because always welcoming and always there for community.
Oh, it would be the one with the starry glasses. For sure.
I am wearing a dress by Kibonen, so I am the designer of this wonderful outfit. The name of this outfit is the Mafo dress.
What's that emoji that has the
Shock.
the shark?
The shark.
Yes, because I feel like Africa's shocking everyone right now.
It's inspired by the culture of the Bamileke people of Cameroon, where the Mafo is the queen's mother. So you can tell, the queen's mother.
So I'm from Kenya, and so this is a Kenyan-made dress in a Kenyan market. I bought it there like a year ago.
If you had to use one word to summarize Africa, what one word would you use?
So you already have the word. It's unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
Inspirational.
Innovative.
Pride. Promise.
We've been at it for a long time, and now is our time.
Well, there is plenty more still to come this afternoon and plenty more emojis that you can send me. But before we head back to the main stage, I have one more guest to bring you. I am now joined by Susie Oludele, best known as a hairstylist to superstars like Beyonce, Solange Knowles, Zoe Kravitz, and Chris Rock. Susie, welcome, and wow, look at your hair. Now, you have a remarkable story of resilience. I think that you started, if I'm right, filming these clips of you doing these hair tutorials on a flip phone, even before we had an iPhone. You couldn't afford a home, so you bought a salon, you slept on the floor. Tell us about it, because it's remarkable. Your videos were doing well, but you still wanted to share this story. Why was that important to you?
I think it's really important to me to share my story because, there's a lot of creators and entrepreneurs who have an idea, they want to start up a business, but they don't have the capital or they don't have the resources. And I just felt in my spirit that I love what I do and I can't give up. At the end of the day, there's a lot of people that are inspired by my work or love what I do, and even me, I have to keep going for the next person. So with that in mind, that just kept me going and just faith-driven.
I think it's really important not to sugarcoat things for people too, right?
Yes.
Because otherwise there's lots of people looking at us going, oh, this is really glamorous, but there's a lot of hard work that it takes to get there. And if you don't know what it takes, then you're going to feel like you're a failure,
Yes.
So they need to really learn the true story.
Exactly.
But talking about people who are helping you just said, it was tricky. Solange Knowles was one of the first artists to really propel you forward. Can you talk about what that opportunity felt like for you and how it changed your trajectory?
It was so inspiring. When they reached out to me and they're like, "Oh, Solange wants you to do her hair," and I thought it was fake. I was like, "This is a lie. How can an idea just come out of nowhere?" And she definitely pushed me into the industry and opened so many doors for me to be able to work with Chris Rock and all these amazing people. I even got to be a hair consultant on a play, a Tony Award-winning play. So, just from her giving me that chance, and I feel like a lot of more people need to open more doors for creators.
And I was just going to say, all of us need to remember that we all have some doors that we can open for other people, whether they feel big or small.
Exactly.
But having said that, it sounds very glamorous and amazing, but dealing with celebrities, it's not always great. You dealt with Beyonce, you got a lot of backlash. How did you navigate that?
I definitely, at the end of the day, I always remember my why. Why am I doing what I'm doing?
And what is your why?
My why is to just inspire people, inspire the world through hair, through creativity. And you don't have to limit yourself to just being a doctor or a lawyer. I create art for a living. That's how I see it. So, and making people happy through it too, because...
How did you first get into hairstyling?
So my mom was a hairstylist and she used to do my hair, and I got laid off at a job and I cried for a moment and I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And then I heard God told me, you're a hairstylist, do hair. And I was like, oh, okay. And from there, I never turned back. I always kept going. And it was hard because a lot of people didn't really believe in me, family, friends, it was hard, but I just kept to, just because I felt like I had so much to give to the world and everybody needed to see it. you know?
Yeah.
And it motivated a lot of other people too. So
Absolutely. I mean, it is really hard. I think for anybody who's watching, who's really been in the thick of it, when you know that you have a calling and nobody else can see it, but you still believe and you go forward, that takes courage.
Exactly.
You know? But so tell me about your beautiful hair that you have on at the moment. How long did it take you to style this?
Okay, 2 hours to install it, 2 hours, everything, cut it. It's called the Ivy Locks.
Okay.
So I created it on set. One day I was like, okay, I want to do something inspiring and motivating. Anything I do, I always like to do something out of the box, something that you've never seen before. How do I inspire the next person that sees me? So yeah, so I was like, I really loved like the short bangs, and I loved the lock. So
you know,
I wanted to merge it together.
I have a question.
Okay,
because a lot of your videos, you're like styling people's hair in an Uber, right?
Yes.
But like, if it takes so much time, how do you do that?
Honestly, years and years of experience,
So
a
it's
lot
just
of
like-
trials and error, a lot of bad hairstyles. Yeah, I sucked in the beginning.
What is one of the craziest places that you've ever styled somebody's hair?
Okay, just recently I did somebody's hair in an Uber.
Okay.
They were like, oh, I have to catch a flight, but I only have this amount of time. And I was like, well, we got to take the Uber or you're going to miss the flight.
My shot. Yeah.
You're not going to miss the flight. So we were in the Uber and I'm braiding her hair and the Uber driver's just like driving. I'm like, hurry up, get to the airport. It was a movie, like literally.
That is fantastic. There is so much more I want to speak to you about. It's been such a pleasure, but we are going to head back to the main stage now and listen to this next panel on harnessing African talent to build a multi-billion-dollar sports industry. So stay with us and we'll see you soon.